Dumb. Cool.
Weird.
Podcast. Yep. So here we are again.
Dumb
Cool Weird Podcast, Movie Mondays. And we watched House. Not the TV show with the doctor that takes all the Vicodin. And not that Japanese Asian movie. That's
House.
a horror movie called House from the 70s.
This is an American 80s movie, which has Norm from Cheers and a lot of Valium with a Vietnam vet.
Yep. And so House from 1985 is one of those movies that, you definitely got to check it out. It's pretty fucking hilarious.
It's a horror movie.
Yeah, but it's funny.
It's hilarious.
It's hilarious. It's the funny. It's trying to be dead ass serious, but
it's dead ass hilarious.
Yeah, dead ass hilarious. Basically, you have this guy named Rodger, who's a Vietnam vet, and he's a writer, and he's been trying to write a memoir about his time in the jungles fighting Charlie.
Yeah, and so he gets a little motivation because his aunt kills herself in the house after years of telling people that the house is evil and will confuse you and try to kill you.
Yep.
And eventually he's got to go back.
Yep, goes back to the house.
And now he's just having flashbacks of Nam and losing his kids.
Yeah, and by the way, a little precept to this. Basically, him and his wife lost their kid at that house, and him and his wife are sort of separated.
She's an actress.
She's an actress. She does like soap
writer.
operas, And then basically he moves into the house because he thinks it's gonna clear his mind for his book.
Writing.
Yeah. And so he starts having like weird shit happen in the house. The first thing that happens is he goes upstairs because he hears a noise, and then his auntie is like upstairs and she's about to hang herself.
I love it. She's like, I told y'all it was the house. It'll make you kill yourself. It'll happen to you. Get out of here. just hangs herself. By the way, you have to say that light fixture really supported a lot of weight, even though she was 90.
Yep, and it kind of sets it up because you actually see her dead, rotting carcass in the beginning of the movie with the kid that comes to bring the groceries.
You know what was crazy is the funeral scene right after the kid reports the suicide.
Yeah,
and you have that old guy. He's like, yeah, all right, wasn't crazy, senile, not crazy. My wife, on the other hand, she's insane. And she's standing there crying her eyes out. It's like, you see, insane.
Yeah, they could get away with shit back then. That.
I mean, he was 90 years old.
Yeah,
Didn't matter.
He's old as fuck. That means he would have been from the Lost generation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but basically he must have been a neighbor or something.
No, that was her brother.
Oh,
that was her brother. He's like, my sister. She wasn't senile. She wasn't crazy. My wife, on the other hand, she's insane.
She's insane. Wow, I totally missed that. That
was her brother.
No. But basically, he's in the house, and
Norm is his neighbor.
Comes and introduces himself, and he introduces himself with his dog crapping himself on the lawn.
He's shitting on the lawn constantly, running through the guy's trash.
Yeah, pretty much.
And Norm is that neighbor who's just always staring out the window, not minding his own damn business.
Yep, never minding his business. It turns out Norm is actually an actual fan of his. His real name is Harold in the movie, but we just call him Norm because that's all I can really see him as.
Yeah.
And basically, he pulls out Rodger's book, and his book has no bookend
there's
anymore.
There's no spine.
It's literally just pages.
The pages he put together to make sure he reads it, but he had it in his back pocket. Yeah. Why the hell do you got that in your back pocket?
I don't know. It's just so random. And then you go into the house.
But let's specify real quick. Rodger kept saying solitude, as in leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah, basically personal space.
Yeah, away from the fan, so he can have flashbacks in his house.
Yeah, so he can have those crazy flashbacks. Basically, what ends up happening though is he starts watching a movie. Which, by the way, we need to figure out what fucking movie he was watching.
Oh yeah,
because we definitely want to watch the movie that he was watching because it was fucking ridiculous. And basically, he starts hallucinating, and he hears his kid laughing. He sees his kid in the window, and then he picks up the remote and turns off the window. And I was like, yeah, turn that window off.
Then he goes upstairs because he hears a noise, and then that fucking terrifying creature thing pops out.
At midnight, by the way.
Yeah, but it looks like the Thing from the Thing movie,
Yeah.
like sort of like a discount version of that, and then he gets
Mauled.
overnight.
He gets mauled by
Yeah,
that thing.
and then overnight he decides he's gonna get all these cameras and everything and get himself like all Vietnam tacked out.
Yeah, basically he had their version of the 80s version of Amazon.
Like just Sears catalog the shit out of that. Shows up overnight. He's got so many cameras, a fishing line, and everything.
Yep.
But the greatest part had to be when the realtor almost killed him with the spear gun.
I remember that. What was funny about the realtor, though, is the realtor was coming up with his dumbass ideas. The realtor was like showing him the back house, and he was like, "Well, you could turn this into another house. Put a jacuzzi there. Do this." And me and Nick are just looking at each other like, "Dude, that's like a
fucking garage?
nasty ass shed,
With
dude."
with the mold. I love how he had like the pistol, the shotgun, and then the fishing pole and the spear gun.
And he almost kills Rodger with the spear gun.
Yeah, like I would have been pissed if I was Rodger, almost getting killed by my realtor.
Yeah, it's not something fun to happen. It was fucking ridiculous. And it was, I mean, like,
The funniest shit is his Vietnam flashbacks where he's going back to his buddy Big Ben, and then he finds out that the monster in his closet could take him back to Vietnam.
yeah. Yeah, like at the end of the movie, towards the end of the movie, he finds out that it takes him back to Vietnam. So he has it takes him into the flashback.
That's where his son is trapped because the house ate his son.
Yeah, basically. And so what leads up to that is basically like
He invites Harold over for a six-pack in a movie.
Yeah.
And he's still all tacked out Vietnam style. And he's like, "Hey, yeah, have you ever hunted?" Yeah, and Norm's like so concerned about this because he thinks he's about to fight a raccoon, and then that fucking monster comes out,
Yeah.
and drags him away into the closet. Then he's back in Nam with his buddy Ben, who gets like shot up a bunch by Charlie, and he's like, "Kill me, Rodger, kill me, just finish me off, please." He's like, "No, I'm gonna go get help." The Viet Cong just surround him, take him away. He's like,
No,
"I'll get you for this, Rodger."
Yep. And basically, what ends up happening though, like before we get to that, because that part is good. I want to cover some other stuff first. I like the part where he calls his wife. Like Norm finds his notebook, calls his wife, and then when he's talking to his wife, he's like, "Oh, you need to come check on him." So it sets up his wife coming over to the house. She comes over to the house, and Rodger's at this point going fucking paranoid.
He's like, all the Valium,
yeah,
and then
he's loading this shotgun with like bullets, right?
With the shells and everything.
And by the way, before, like, just to kind of set something up, before this even happens, he got in a fight with like a swordfish on the wall.
The stuffed swordfish's grandfather.
Yep. And then he also gets in a fight with fucking garden appliances that come to life and float and try to kill him.
Yeah, and this is like and the funnier part is his wife then transforms into this overweight fat demon creature, but has makeup on and its nails done.
Are done.
Like holy shit, you got your nails done before you started fucking with Rodger?
Yeah, so we were like, so this monster is able to shapeshift into his wife, but it's a monster, obviously from another dimension. So does that mean like this creature goes to another dimension and gets its nails done and gets its lipstick done and its hair done and has like it even had like nice shoes on and like had a ring on, like a ring,
like it was definitely married to one of the other demons.
Yeah, like what the fuck, dude?
But what's great about it is the fact that it's like, he shoots it and then he has a real like freak out moment because obviously like he thinks he's high as shit and
because it turns back into his wife. It looks like his wife again.
And that was actually one of the darker parts of the movie because he was having a moment there, and then the cops were in his house because of Norm. I mean, and then Norm just keeps inviting himself into his life.
Yep, and then it turns out the monster isn't dead.
Oh yeah,
it grabs a shotgun and it tries to pull it like hits him in the back of the head with the blunt end of the shotgun, and then she's like, "Say your prayers, Rodger." It has like a weird voice.
It sounded like a southern fat woman.
Yeah.
But I mean, it looked like a southern fat trailer park woman.
Yeah,
when it transformed.
Like, just really disgusting.
Like like what some of the troglodytes that live out here in Dawsonville are married to.
Oh yeah. But basically like it's fucking ridiculous. Like basically like it tries to shoot him in the head,
and then it can't because
It's
because he wasted all the shells.
Yeah, he wasted all the shells, and he just fucks it up, and then they get in a fist fight, and then basically he opens up the door, and the fucking garden tools fuck him up. The tools fuck him up, chop off his head, and then what's funny is it starts playing the only song that they could afford, probably for this, the only well-known song. It's no good, baby. It's no good.
And the funnier part is the hot neighbor is using his swimming pool, and he's got this big ass bag, and she's like, and she believes it's a tree.
Yep.
Like he's gonna plant a tree, and he's over there in the back when she's leaving. She's just like beating the shit out of this thing because the corpse is still alive, even though it doesn't have a head.
Yeah, he's whipping its ass, dude. And like as she's walking around, he like leaving, it's not even moving anymore, and he just hits it a couple more times. He's like, son of a bitch, and he's like,
and then he finds the axe, and he's like, I'm just gonna chop it up.
He chops the fucking monster up into like 6 or 7 different pieces, and then basically Norm's dog comes over, grabs the fucking hand from out of the ground, runs off with it, and then this fucking chick who was in the pool shows up with a fucking her kid, and then she fucking like leaves,
pawns it off
on him.
She's like, I've known you for like an hour. Like not even an hour, like a few minutes from outside earlier today, and now I'm pawning my child off on you. And then the child demons that tried to take the kid away up the chimney, that was made of nightmares.
Yeah, dude, that whatever makeup effects monster effects guy come up with that, dude. Like I'm impressed, dude. That
was actually
terrifying.
legitimately creepy. Those kids were like legitimately creepy.
But the best part though is when he's watching the kid, he's watching his wife in a soap opera. And the guy walks up and she goes, how could I ever love you?
You abused my sister. It's not my fault I've been a male prostitute forever.
It's since I was young. It's just like, what?
It's like the dialogue of this movie is trash.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, I want to see what's going on in this movie, and then it's not a real movie, obviously, you know.
But you want to know more. You're like, what is this love story really about?
Yeah. So fucking bizarre. It was just the most random shit. And I know the fucking writers of the movie were like, oh, we're so clever.
To be fair, they probably thought they were clever when they made this fucking movie. Like, it's going to be a horror movie. And it's turning out to be a freaking comedy.
Yeah, it's a comedy. So he ends up getting the kid back. He gives the kid a bath. He gives the kid back to the mom, and the kid never says anything to the mom about the creepy little creatures that fucking grabbed him.
It was like, hey, did you have fun with Uncle Rodger? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got therapy for the rest of his life that he's got to look forward to.
Pretty much.
And I mean, and the crazier part is like the paintings that his aunt made.
Like they were all like premonitions to what was going to happen.
And they finds out his kid's trapped in the mirror.
So this is what ends up happening. So basically, when Norm's with him, he goes to Vietnam, comes back. Norm is fucking wasted, laying on a mattress.
He thought he died.
He's laying on a mattress with no sheet on it. Food all over the mattress, almost empty bottle of Jack.
He drank like 3/5 of the Jack. No, he drank 4/5 of the Jack.
And then there's like a bunch of empty beer cans and just food everywhere. And then he takes Norm home, puts him to bed, and then he goes upstairs. He comes back and he goes up into the attic and he looks at the painting and he's like, oh. But then he rips it off, and his kid is like in the
he rips
mirror.
off the rag that was covering up his kid's just trapped in the mirror. So he decides he closes instead of taking any more Valium. He decides he's just gonna throw something into the mirror, and it brings him into this black hole of nothingness.
Yeah, and then Satan's dick comes out and wraps around his hand and is trying to pull him in, and all of a sudden all these monsters are coming in there. And me and Nick came to the conclusion that they weren't actually trying to kill him; they were just horny like demons.
They were trying to have sex with him.
Yeah, because they've been trapped in hell for so long. They gotta fuck something. And then what wards them off is he pulls out the straight razor. A razor.
He's like, just slashing away at their hands.
And the monster's like, oh shit, okay, all right, you got us.
Like, ow, that hurt a lot.
Yeah, but then it gets even funnier because he ties a rope off, starts going into the mirror. Because by the way, he's trying to figure out if he's going crazy because he looks out the window to see if it goes outside, and no, it doesn't. It goes into like another dimension. He starts climbing down. And this winged demon creature flies up and fucks with him. Takes his shotgun and it flips it around and goes and like shoots
the string.
Yeah.
Shoots the cord he's repelled on. He ends up in the water. Then ends up back in Vietnam where he finally rescues his son after God knows how many years.
Yep.
And then come to find out his buddy is shooting at him. The one he didn't kill in Vietnam.
Yeah, and by the way, he got his kid out of that cage that was locked with chains pretty damn easily, dude. So Ben,
All it really was it was just like wraps
yeah,
around.
Big Ben was kind of like being a little lazy. He was slipping, dude.
Oh no, he was trying to ambush him.
Yeah,
But the funnier part about this is that all of this is because he didn't kill Big Ben in Vietnam.
yeah, pretty much.
He was like, I told you I'd get back at you.
Yeah, because basically what ends up happening is he gets his son. They go back, and then they try to walk out the front door, and then it's fucking Ben, and Ben is a fucking zombie.
With
no,
an M60.
no, he is a zombie. That's all, and that's really what he is. He's a fucking talking zombie
With a
And
60.
Yeah, and this is where it gets even funnier because he's just like the zombie's a joke. He's just like it's funny. He's like, huh, you hit like a girl, Rodger.
He just started, you know how long I've been waiting for this, Rodger.
Yeah, and he goes, you can do better than that, Rodger.
Just like constantly taunting him. And the funnier part is like, oh, I should have brought more ammo from the tomb.
Yeah, because he's so mad that it runs out of fucking ammo, and then they end up going to another dimension where he's like hanging off the side of a cliff, like where the house is.
He uses his belt to whip it around his hand. He
pulls
pulls him in, and you see the mannequin that they brought in to do this fall, like the head completely explode and pop off as it hit the bottom.
Yeah, and then he goes back in, and then all of a sudden Ben's back.
Yeah, he's just there.
Yeah, and then Ben goes, haha, I got you, Rodger, and he cuts off his hand, and then he like pulls his hand back up, and the hand is like
Still there.
And
like, wait a minute, you can't hurt me.
He's like, you can't hurt me. It's like one of those like things where you're like in a dream, and you're like, wait a minute, I have the power.
Yeah.
And basically, he goes, oh, you're not right, Rodger. I'll kill him, and I'll kill you. And then he steals his kid back, and then he basically does the grenade shit where he rips the grenade pin out,
Which lose your fucking teeth.
which you lose your teeth apparently. And then he shoves it into his chest, and he blows up. The house is on fire. They go outside, and that's when the mom meets back up with them, and they're a happy family again. And everybody's all smiling and happy, and the house is on fire, so they're probably gonna lose the house.
But they freeze frame on Rodger like smiling, like yeah, I saved my kid.
80s trope.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the movie.
Definitely fucking watch it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's really funny. Like the parts, like it's not really scary. I mean, there's a few parts that are really creepy, but I wouldn't say it's like
the only part that
terrifying.
really hits you in the feels is when he thought he killed his wife.
Yeah.
Like that's like oh shit, he might have actually killed her.
Yeah, because you think he's going nuts, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, you got to keep in mind that it's gonna be really funny. Like especially the scenes with Ben. The scenes with Ben are fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
With the zombie, like it's not scary. It's just fucking funny.
You're laughing your ass off that whole fight.
Yeah, pretty much. Because Ben his insults are just too fucking funny.
He's just taunting him the whole time. Like I'm already dead, bitch.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
They tortured me for weeks before I died because of you. I was trying to get help. Fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you, Rodger. But basically, what this is what I'll tell you guys. Just watch the movie, check it out. It's really fucking great. This is definitely a must watch movie. So fucking watch it, fucking check it out. And honestly, there's a whole series. There's like 3 other movies that we have to watch with this. And by the way, they're not sequels. They're just like it's like a series of movies.
It's like you said an anthology of movies.
It's like an anthology of movies about haunted houses. And by the way, what we'll do on the YouTube videos is there'll be cards up top that you guys can check out, and we'll have like the trailer for these movies that you can check out yourself to see if you really want to watch it. I mean, the trailers are probably gonna be really cheesy but fun, and it'll kind of get you into
movies.
Yeah.
So you have to take into consideration that they were working with a lot less.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you know what? It's amazing how a lot of this stuff in the 80s was just getting made. Like, I mean, movies today are fucking ridiculously stupid in the fact that you don't want to watch them and they're bad, big budget films. This was probably a low budget film that you were like, you know what? I'm going to get drunk and watch this in the theater.
Yeah.
And you did it.
Funny story. My stepdad, Robert, he was telling me that he basically like had a girl one time that he was dating, and he was like, hey, I know this really scary movie, let's watch it. And he showed it to her, and apparently he didn't get a second date because it was so fucking like not scary. She was not impressed.
She was just not impressed. You're like,
No,
fuck you, Rodger.
not impressed. Fuck you, Rodger. um, but yeah, I saw this movie when I was about 6 years old. Because you saw the movie poster. It's basically a hand like going to like a door, and it was like a rotten looking hand, and that's like picture being in an old school video store, and they had it like sitting up on the shelf, and I was like, oh man, I gotta watch that fucking shit.
Yeah, it looks so cheesy.
Yeah, and then that's what I rented, and I saw it as a kid, and I was just like, this is fucking retarded, dude. I can't believe this exists. And so, yeah,
Perfect movie.
Perfect movie. I mean, I recommended it earlier because we were gonna watch something else, but it ended up being like a 5-hour thing, and we just.
Oh yeah, we don't have 5 hours.
I mean, we'll do it eventually, but not right now. But yeah, it's a movie.
We're probably gonna have to hit that one in stages.
Yeah, definitely.
We're gonna have to like take a break every hour and review it.
Absolutely. But yeah, so yeah, check out the movie. It's really good. It's fucking funny. You know, if you like really good 80s cheese, because there's a lot of sad 80s moments. I mean, there's like literally the props in the movie. There's like a lamp.
Oh yeah.
Like the girl's bedroom, his bedroom, like it's all very 80s. It's got that 80s look to it. It's got that big ass lamp. It's got those shitty ass see-through fucking coffee tables and like side tables with the glass and the gold and the black. And then he was talking, and Nick
the
was
Oriental that thing you could change behind that every Italian family had ever.
Yeah.
It's like one of those. It's like when you watch the Goodfellas movie, right? That whole like set that they had in the house was pretty much what like all my Italian relatives had in their house at one point.
And then they had like sad ass fucking Diet Coke, in the movie, and that probably had extra cancer in it. And then you had like sad. He basically goes over wearing his sad ass like 80s like businessman attire with the suspenders and walks up and turns up the music on his 80s ass fucking like stereo, and he's like, oh, me and the guys are playing cards.
You know what's weird? It's like you should call it a different time. It's like, bitch, you called her.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
Who's there? Oh, the guys.
The guys. Yeah, and she's like, oh really? What guys? He's like, the guys.
Like Rodger, you don't have friends anymore. They all died in Nam.
Yeah, they died in Nam, dude. Come on.
You're like, and you didn't even kill Big Ben. You didn't even give him the satisfaction of dying.
It's an old movie because the computer they were typing on, the text was green and the screen was black.
Just straight up black.
Yeah, that's how you know it's an old ass fucking computer.
I bet that fucking 80s microwave though. I've used one. They're fucking awful.
Why did they always use? I wonder why they always use green text instead of like white text for those computers.
Yeah, I never really thought that hard into it.
Must have been the green age.
Yeah, it might have been. Everybody in the 80s had a lot of money and not a lot of ideas of what to do with it.
Yeah, that's a good point. But anyway, that was House. You should definitely check it out.
Check it out.
Pretty funny. You'll see some really cool stuff. I think there's a cameo in there from He-Man. He's like an action figure in the movie.
Yeah, and a few like behind the scenes kind of actors, like like some of the guys from Southern Discomfort.
Yep.
I mean, Southern Comfort. That movie made me uncomfortable though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So there you go. That's it. So as usual, check out the website, check out our shit, and Nick, you want to sign us out?
Yeah. Stay sexy, Georgia.
Thanks for checking out the Dumb Cool Weird podcast. We're a movie podcast now, so Movie Monday is every Monday about crappy movies from the 20th century. It's gonna be great, folks. I can't wait to show y'all.